Hello, I'm Bonnie, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to keep your eye on the prize. That is, how to be a successful student. One of the things that we know about successful students is that they tend to follow the same kind of steps. And step one for most successful students is that they establish goals. Kind of think of a goal as your hope for the future. What do you hope to accomplish? What do you hope to achieve? Now, some of those goals are short-term. So if we're talking about academic goals, a short-term academic goal would be something as you're preparing for an exam or you're preparing for a project, or maybe you're working on your grades for a particular quarter and you establish goals. We know that students who establish goals are more likely to achieve them. You don't want to hope and wish your way through to success. You have to say, what do I consider successful? These are my short-term goals. We know that successful students not only have short-term goals, but they also have long-term goals. Those tend to last a little longer, like I'm going to graduate from college. I'm going to graduate from college with honors. I'm going to graduate from college in 4 years. These would be some examples of long-term educational goals. And again, people who establish goals are more likely to achieve them. And it's not just enough to establish the goal, it needs to be specific. You hear me say things like, I'm going to graduate with honors, or I'm going to graduate in 4 years, where you constrain the situation on what you consider to be successful. It's not just enough, though, to establish goals. Successful students make a plan. They make a plan. Again, they're not hoping and wishing that, some magical fairy comes and sprinkles pixie dust on their head and they're going to achieve those goals. They recognize that in order to achieve goals, you have to do something. You have to act, right? And so they make a plan. And that plan is specific. That plan is specific, and it includes things like, what am I going to do? When am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And possibly, most importantly, with who's going to help me? With whom am I going to do this? Who's going to help me? Right? That who part is your go-to team. And successful people have a go-to team, right? If you want to be successful in sports, you have your coaches, right? If you want to be successful in dance, you have your ballet teacher. Well, if you want to be successful in education, you need a go-to team. And that go-to team obviously is going to include some of your teachers, but it also should include some family members as well as other experts who might be able to guide you towards your professional career. So, successful people establish goals, they make a plan, and they're specific. I love to sing. I love to sing. I sing every day, sometimes for hours. Every time I'm driving, I'm singing. I sing in the shower. I sing when I go to church. I sing a lot. But I'm not an expert in singing. Why? Because I only sing by myself. I don't want anybody, except the church where nobody's listening to me. I don't want anybody to hear how I'm singing. I just don't. I don't want feedback, right? I just want to feel like I sing good. And you know what? For some things, that's okay. For some things, that's okay. But for school, that's never okay. If you want to be successful, you need to seek feedback. You want to get objective feedback. Now, some of that's just going to come from yourself, right? Reflect reflecting on, what do I know? What don't I know? What do I understand? What am I confused about? Being honest with yourself. Getting your own feedback is always the first step in being a successful student. But you also have to get formalized feedback. And that could come in the form of grades or corrections that a teacher might make on your paper. We know that successful students look for that feedback and take in that feedback. I'm not going to tell you it's going to feel good all of the time. There certainly is going to be times when you're going to feel maybe sad. I remember in my own life there being times when I got feedback that was so unsettling to me that I cried, or that I got angry, or I had a lot of negative self-talk. But you have to push that aside and look to, what do I need to do to grow and to learn? The last thing that successful students do when we're talking about this particular kind of plan is successful students practice, practice, practice. They practice even the stuff that's not so fun. They recognize where their weaknesses are and they go towards their weaknesses to fill in gaps. That's what successful students do. And in doing so, they're able to fill in gaps, they're able to grow, they're able to become stronger in their understanding and more successful in school. Everybody has an opportunity to be successful in school, and we know that when we look at successful students, they do these 4 things. They establish goals, they make a plan that is specific, especially including their go-to team. They seek feedback, serious and honest feedback, and they take in that feedback and they use it to make changes. They use it to make themselves better. And they practice, practice, practice. Even the fun, not so fun stuff, because they want to get better. And so I want to thank you for listening today, and I know that you can become a successful student by implementing these steps. Take care.